You think American healthcare is expensive? Wrong. It's worse. Try a house under 10 grand. You can find that. But a hospital bill under $10,000? Good luck. Some towns are rocking prices that feel like satire. Others have ER wait times so long you could knit a sweater collection before a doctor walks in. This isn't just about broken bones or flu shots. It's about the places where a toothache costs more than your rent, where the nearest specialist is 2 states away, and where your odds of seeing a doctor on time are about the same as winning Powerball. You think you know America? Wait until you see what's happening in these mountain towns, desert outposts, and forgotten suburbs. These aren't scams, not tourist traps. These are real places where people live, work, and try not to get sick. We're diving into 30 US towns where healthcare is suspiciously cheap, insanely chaotic, or just straight up haunted by bureaucracy. There's always a catch, and trust me, you're not ready for what's next. Like this video so the algorithm thinks I'm important. Subscribe. This channel is your break glass in case of boring life kit. By the end, you'll either pack your bags or pray you never need a doctor there. Let's break it down. Laredo, Texas. Welcome to Laredo, Texas. Border town, big personality, and healthcare nightmare wrapped in heat stroke. Here's the absurd hook. In Laredo, your rent can be cheaper than a root canal. I'm not joking. Laredo sits on the Mexican border, about 260,000 people strong, drenched in desert sun and taco trucks. Sounds lively, right? But here's the kicker. Healthcare access here is like spotting a snowstorm in July. Rare. Data block median home price, $190,000, cheap for Texas. Rent, around $900 for a 2-bedroom. Cost of living, 22% below national average. Uninsured rate, nearly 30%, one of the highest in the country. Nearest specialists, often in San Antonio, 2 hours away. If you break your arm, you might get faster service driving to Mexico for treatment than waiting in a local ER. One local quipped online, "In Laredo, the waiting room has more drama than Netflix. And don't even get me started on the potholes. Imagine driving your injured self to the hospital, hitting a crater so deep your car files for disability too. Imagine blinding sun, the smell of grilled meat, and you clutching your chest. Not from romance, but from the $8,000 ER bill. And if you think Laredo is rough, wait until you see where winters are so brutal the hospitals actually shut down roads to keep ambulances moving. Fairbanks, Alaska. Up next, Fairbanks, Alaska. Land of midnight sun, northern lights, and healthcare that feels like a survival show challenge. A round-trip ticket to Seattle can sometimes be cheaper than getting treated locally. Yes, flying to the lower 48 just to see a specialist is a thing here. Fairbanks, population 32,000. Think rugged frontier vibes, moose traffic jams, and winters that freeze your eyelashes. Picturesque until you need a doctor. Data block of median home price, $290,000. Rent, around $1,200. Average temperature in January, a soul-crushing minus 17 degrees Fahrenheit. Nearest level 1 trauma center, Anchorage, 360 miles away. Healthcare ranking, consistently bottom tier for access in the state. If you need advanced care, buckle up for either a medevac flight or a 6-hour drive through moose territory. Locals joke that your best bet is to not get sick until summer. One Fairbanks resident said, "We don't wait for doctors, we wait for planes." And don't even start about internet healthcare. Telehealth? Sure, if your Wi-Fi doesn't freeze before the video call. Imagine the aurora blazing overhead, snow crunching under your boots, and you dialing a specialist who says, "Can you come in?" Yeah, in 6 hours, if the moose let you through. If you think Fairbanks is chilling, wait until you see the desert town where you can pay thousands for healthcare and still have tumbleweeds as your only companions. Kingman, Arizona. Route 66 charm, Wild West flavor, and medical care that feels stuck in the 1950s. In Kingman, the bill for a single ER visit could buy you a used car. Not a good one, but at least one with functioning brakes. Kingman has around 33,000 residents, desert mountains all around, and a reputation as a quirky stop for road trippers. But behind the neon signs, healthcare is about as modern as a black and white TV. Data block median home price, $260,000. Rent, about $1,100. Cost of living, 10% below national average. Nearest major hospital hub, Las Vegas, 100 miles away. High ratio of elderly residents versus limited healthcare facilities. The local hospital has been blasted online for long wait times and short staffing. If you're older, and many Kingman residents are, you better hope your ailments are patient. A reviewer once said, "If you want an adventure, try getting admitted here. It's like winning the lottery, except the prize is a bed with broken rails." And then there's the heat. Imagine waiting in your car outside the hospital in July, air conditioning failing, thinking, at least dehydration is cheaper to fix. Imagine tumbleweeds rolling by, faded Route 66 billboards, and you clutching a hospital bill that could have been a down payment on that classic car parked downtown. And if you think Kingman is bad, wait until we hit the place where the local hospital is famous for, no joke, closing its maternity ward mid-baby boom. Clarksdale, Mississippi. Birthplace of the blues, but if you need medical care, you'll be singing the blues too. Here, the cost of insulin is higher than some people's monthly rent. That's not a metaphor, it's Tuesday. Tiny Delta town, population 14,000, known for its music festivals and juke joints, but healthcare, it's like someone pressed pause in 1973. Data block median home price, $70,000. Rent, around $600. Cost of living, 30% below national average. County health rankings, bottom 5% nationally. Diabetes prevalence, nearly 20%. Hospitals have closed in the Mississippi Delta, leaving Clarksdale residents scrambling. Want a specialist? Pack snacks. You'll be driving hours. A local said, "We don't make doctor appointments. We make road trips." And the roads? Imagine potholes so deep they qualify as swimming pools. Perfect, because your car suspension will need therapy after. Imagine blues guitar floating through humid air, neon bar signs glowing, and someone muttering, "The music's alive, but the healthcare system flatlined years ago." Fargo, North Dakota. Famous for wood chippers, accents, and winters that could freeze your soul. Healthcare here? Equally chilling. In Fargo, the ER wait time can be longer than the actual movie Fargo twice. Population 130,000. College town, prairie landscapes, and winters so brutal your eyelashes snap. But hospitals? They're buried under snow. And bureaucracy. Data block at median home price, $270,000. Rent, around $1,100. Cost of living, 6% below national average. Average January temp, 2 degrees Fahrenheit. ER wait times, some of the longest in the state. North Dakota has a physician shortage. In Fargo, you might meet a traveling doctor faster than a permanent one. A resident quipped, "I went in for a cough, came out with frostbite waiting in the parking lot." And snowplows? Great for streets, but in hospital parking lots, it's basically a demolition derby between trucks and sedans. Imagine snow blowing sideways, you clutching your insurance card, and an ER nurse saying, "We'll call you back, eventually." Flint, Michigan, you already know the water situation. Guess what? Healthcare isn't much better. In Flint, bottled water is cheaper and more reliable than a hospital visit. Population 80,000. Once the Motor City's little brother, now infamous for poisoned pipes and economic collapse. Data block at median home price, $45,000. Rent, around $700. Cost of living, 30% below national average. Poverty rate, nearly 40%. Healthcare facilities, underfunded and overworked. Many Flint residents face chronic conditions tied to the water crisis. Yet resources are so strained, care feels like a lottery system. Someone said, "It's like playing Sim City on hard mode, except we're the citizens." And don't even talk about potholes. Flint doesn't have potholes, it has craters. I saw one last year that looked like a tomato garden. Yuma, Arizona. Snowbirds love it, locals not so much, especially if they need a hospital. In Yuma, there are more RV parks than hospital beds. And honestly, the RVs probably have better Wi-Fi. Population 100,000. Desert city, sweltering summers, and a major military presence. Affordable living but healthcare access? Deserted. Data block median home price, $250,000. Rent, around $1,000. Cost of living, 14% below national average. Summer temps, 110 degrees Fahrenheit average highs. Ranked among worst US cities for doctor-to-patient ratio. Many residents cross into Mexico for dental and medical care because it's cheaper and faster. A Yuma resident said, "You don't get sick here. You take vacations to get sick across the border." Imagine passing out from heat stroke, then waiting 2 hours for an ambulance because the AC in the paramedic truck gave up too. Selma, Alabama. Civil rights history, small town charm, and healthcare stuck in the dark ages. In Selma, you're more likely to find a historical marker than a functioning hospital bed. Population 17,000. Rich history, crumbling infrastructure, and poverty that never left. Data block median home price, $90,000. Rent, $650. Poverty rate nearly 35%. Life expectancy, 6 years below US average. Hospital closures, one major in the past decade. Many Selma residents drive over an hour for basic healthcare. Ambulances, slow, outdated, and underfunded. One resident sighed, "It's like healthcare skipped us in the civil rights movement too." And then there's the humidity. Selma summers feel like swimming in soup. Great training if you want to practice drowning before your next ER visit. Barstow, California. Middle of the desert, crossroads of interstates, and healthcare so bleak you'll pray your GPS reroutes. Here, you'll see more billboards for injury lawyers than actual doctors. Population 25,000, desert town, military base nearby, and truck stops galore. Healthcare? Think tumbleweeds with stethoscopes. Data block median home price $210,000. Rent? Around $950. Unemployment 11%. Hospital resources, limited staff, long wait times. Nearest advanced care, San Bernardino, 70 miles away. Barstow's only major hospital has been dragged online for outdated equipment and long delays. Locals often skip town for treatment. One Yelp review said, "You're better off calling an Uber to LA than calling an ambulance here." And don't get me started on the heat. Waiting for medical help in Barstow is like preheating yourself at 115 degrees Fahrenheit. Gary, Indiana. Former steel capital, now mostly rust and empty lots. Healthcare? About as abandoned as the factories. In Gary, a hospital visit feels like a haunted house tour. Half the wings are shut down. Population 67,000. Once booming, now struggling. Crime high, jobs scarce, and hospitals underfunded. Data block median home price $60,000. Rent? $750. Poverty rate, 32%. Unemployment, 11%. Hospital closures, multiple in the last 20 years. Gary residents often travel to Chicago for healthcare. Locally, it's slim pickings, and the facilities that remain look like movie sets for dystopian thrillers. A resident quipped, "Our hospital cafeteria has better odds of saving you than the ER. And don't even try finding parking. The lots look like they've hosted monster truck rallies since 1984. Shreveport, Louisiana. Welcome to Shreveport. Casino lights, jazz festivals, and a healthcare system that's basically a bad bet. In Shreveport, you'll wait longer in the ER than you would at the blackjack table. At least at the table, you get free drinks. Population 185,000. Northwest Louisiana hub, humid summers, cultural mix. But the hospitals? They've been ranked some of the lowest performing in the state. Data block median home price, $160,000. Rent, $900. Poverty rate, 25%. State health ranking, bottom 5 in the US. Hospital safety ratings, frequently D or F. With high obesity, diabetes, and poverty, Shreveport's hospitals are constantly overwhelmed. Locals joke you need luck and a lottery ticket to get a decent doctor. One resident quipped, "Our ER is like a concert. You wait hours, then get 5 minutes of action. And parking? Hope you brought sneakers. By the time you hike from the lot to the ER, your sprained ankle is now a full leg injury." Charleston, West Virginia. Mountains, rivers, and healthcare that's basically coal dust in a white coat. In Charleston, you're more likely to find a coal miner than a cardiologist. And sometimes the miner gives better advice. Population 48,000, scenic Appalachian charm, historic architecture, and a state that's consistently near the bottom in health outcomes. Data block, median home price, $140,000. Rent, $750. Poverty rate, 23%. Opioid overdose rate, among the highest in the US. Hospital closures. Several rural facilities in the region shut down. West Virginia struggles with doctor shortages, addiction crises, and aging infrastructure. Hospitals here feel like they're running on fumes. A Charleston resident said, "Our ER is like a country road, long, winding, and you don't know if you'll make it." And let's talk Wi-Fi. Telehealth, forget it. The video freezes so often your doctor looks like he's doing the robot dance. Bakersfield, California. Oil pumps, agriculture, and hospitals that make you wonder if you're on an episode of Survivor. In Bakersfield, ER wait times are so long you could binge watch an entire Netflix series season in the lobby. Population 400,000. Central Valley City, hot summers, smoggy air, and one of California's worst doctor-to-patient ratios. Data block, median home price, $350,000. Rent, $1,300. Poverty rate, 20%. Air quality, ranked among worst in US hospitals. Frequently cited for long wait times. Bakersfield's booming population hasn't been matched by hospital growth. Residents often drive to LA for better care. Someone said, "I got diagnosed with patience before my actual condition." And the air? Just breathing here should come with a copay. Forget insurance. You need a gas mask. Memphis, Tennessee, home of Elvis, barbecue, and hospitals that might leave you all shook up in the worst way. In Memphis, you'll get more consistent service at a BBQ joint than at the ER. At least ribs don't come with hidden fees. Population 620,000. Blues music, Mississippi River, and a healthcare system overwhelmed by poverty and crime. Data block, median home price, $150,000. Rent, $950. Poverty rate, 26%. Violent crime rate, among highest in U.S. hospital safety grades. Multiple Ds and Fs. Memphis hospitals are chronically understaffed, and safety grades make patients nervous. Add in high trauma cases, and ERs are swamped. One resident said, "The ER is where patients goes to die." And the potholes? Memphis roads make every ambulance ride feel like a roller coaster. Hope your spine's ready. Gallup, New Mexico. Gorgeous desert landscapes, Navajo culture, and healthcare that feels like a mirage. In Gallup, your nearest hospital might be so short-staffed you'll see the janitor before you see a doctor. Population 22,000. Route 66 town, gateway to Navajo Nation. Beautiful mesas, but healthcare deserts everywhere. Data block, median home price, $180,000. Rent, $800. Poverty rate, 27%. Nearest large hospitals, Albuquerque, 2 hours away. Chronic illnesses, high diabetes and heart disease rates. Rural healthcare shortages mean long waits and limited services. Native communities especially struggle with underfunded facilities. A local joked, "The ER wait time's so long, I aged into a senior discount while waiting." And the wind, Gallup winds hit 50 miles per hour. Imagine your ambulance ride turning into kite practice. Macon, Georgia, music history, Southern charm, and hospitals that are basically time machines, set permanently to 1989. In Macon, it's easier to get a peach pie than a prescription refill. Population 150,000, known for Otis Redding, Little Richard, and hot Georgia summers. But healthcare? It's mostly headlines about closures. Data block, median home price, $120,000. Rent, $850. Poverty rate, 25%. Hospitals, multiple closures in past decade. State health ranking, bottom 10. Macon residents often travel to Atlanta for care. Locally, hospitals are overrun, underfunded, and closing left and right. A resident said, "Our hospital's motto should be good luck." And don't mention the humidity. Just walking to the ER feels like you've already drowned. Atlantic City, New Jersey. Boardwalks, casinos, and hospitals that roll the dice with your health. In Atlantic City, you'll see more cardiologists and slot machine ads than in actual clinics. Population 38,000. Once glamorous, now crumbling under poverty and crime. Data block, median home price, $170,000. Rent, $1,000. Poverty rate, 37%. Crime rate, among highest in New Jersey. Hospital safety grades consistently poor. Atlantic City hospitals face low funding, overworked staff, and outdated facilities. Locals often joke that Atlantic City gambled its healthcare away. A resident joked, "You're better off pulling a slot lever than pulling the ER handle." And the boardwalk seagulls? They'll steal your fries and your sanity while you wait for care. Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Timber town, prison hub, and healthcare that feels like it's serving a life sentence. In Pine Bluff, ER visits are so slow you could probably grow a pine tree while waiting. Population 38,000. Arkansas River City, industrial decline, high poverty. Data block, median home price, $90,000. Rent, $650. Poverty rate, 28%. Life expectancy, below national average. Hospitals struggling with closures and staffing shortages. With high poverty and limited healthcare investment, Pine Bluff's hospitals run on bare minimums. Locals often drive to Little Rock for real care. One local quipped, "Our ER waiting room is like purgatory. You just sit there wondering which way you're headed." And don't mention mosquitoes. They're so big here, they'll probably carry you to the hospital themselves, quicker than the ambulance. Youngstown, Ohio. Rust Belt relic, steel ghosts, and healthcare that's about as shiny as a busted factory floor. In Youngstown, you'll find more boarded-up clinics than working ones. Population 60,000. Once a steel powerhouse, now a symbol of industrial collapse. Data block, median home price, $70,000. Rent, $700. Poverty rate, 36%. Hospital closures, multiple in past 15 years. Health outcomes among worst in Ohio. Youngstown hospitals struggle with outdated equipment and staffing shortages. Many residents head to Cleveland or Pittsburgh. A local said, "It's like healthcare retired with the steel mills." And the snow? Lake effect storms bury this place. Hope you brought a shovel to dig yourself to the ER. Camden, New Jersey. Across the river from Philly, famous for crime stats and infamous for its healthcare struggles. In Camden, it's easier to find a bail bondsman than a family doctor. Population 71,000. Industrial decline, poverty, and one of the highest crime rates in the U.S. Data block, median home price, $90,000. Rent, $850. Poverty rate, 36%. Violent crime, top tier nationally. Hospitals consistently low grades. Camden hospitals are often under-resourced, leaving patients in limbo. Locals cross into Philly for almost everything. A resident said, if the crime doesn't get you, the healthcare bill will. And parking? Forget about it. You'll pay more to park at the hospital than for your prescription, assuming you even get one. Stockton, California. Inland empire of grapes, rivers, and ER lines longer than a Coachella porta potty queue. In Stockton, your chance of getting a same-day doctor's appointment is about the same as getting front-row tickets to Beyonce. Population 320,000. Agricultural hub, rising crime, and one of California's most bankrupt cities. Data block median home price, $450,000. Rent, $1,500. Poverty rate, 20%, and violent crime among highest in California. Hospital ratings, consistently low for safety and speed. The combo of high population, poverty, and underfunded hospitals means Stockton's healthcare is clogged. People drive hours to Sacramento or the Bay. One resident said, Stockton's ER is like purgatory with fluorescent lights. And traffic? Hope you like staring at brake lights while your appendix decides whether to explode. El Paso, Texas, a border city, mountain views, and healthcare so stressed you'll wish you'd driven into Mexico. In El Paso, a dental crown across the border costs less than a copay in town. Population 678,000. Desert mountains, rich culture, and healthcare squeezed by demand. Data block median home price, $210,000. Rent, $950. Poverty rate, 20%. Uninsured rate, around 25%. Many residents cross into Juarez, Mexico for care. Hospitals here are overrun, underfunded, and short on specialists. The uninsured population puts huge strain on resources. A resident joked, my dentist is in Juarez. The view's nicer, and so are the bills. And the heat? Try waiting in a 110-degree Fahrenheit parking lot with no shade while your number gets called. Hours later. Detroit, Michigan, Motown soul muscle cars and hospitals that need more horsepower. In Detroit, ER potholes might injure you worse than the original accident. Population 630,000. Revival stories mix with abandoned blocks. Healthcare? Spotty at best. Data blocked median home price $75,000. Rent? $900. Poverty rate 33%. Multiple hospital closures in past 20 years. Trauma centers overwhelmed. Detroit residents often drive to suburban hospitals. Inside the city, understaffing and outdated facilities create chaos. One Detroiter said, hospitals here feel like the auto plants, stripped for parts. And the potholes, Detroit doesn't have potholes, it has miniature craters. I saw one eat a Prius last winter. Jackson, Mississippi, state capital, soulful music, and a healthcare system as unstable as the water supply. In Jackson, your tap water isn't safe, and neither are your hospital bills. Population 145,000. State politics, crumbling infrastructure, and constant headlines about failing systems. Data block median home price, $120,000. Rent, $850. Poverty rate, 24%. Multiple hospital closures, including maternity wards, ranked among worst states for overall health. Jackson hospitals are underfunded, understaffed, and overrun. When maternity wards close, women drive hours to deliver. One resident sighed, here, babies are born on highways more often than in hospitals. And mosquitoes? They don't bite here. They file paperwork with a copay. Cleveland, Ohio. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, sports heartbreak, and healthcare that's a coin flip. Amazing or abysmal. In Cleveland, you either get world-class care or a bill so scary it qualifies as horror. Population 370,000, Rust Belt Revival, Lake Erie Breeze, and home to the Cleveland Clinic, but also hospitals that didn't get the memo. Data block median home price, $120,000. Rent, $850. Poverty rate, 30%. Health inequality gap, among largest in U.S. national rankings, extremes, top tier and bottom tier. Some Clevelanders live near the best hospitals in the world but can't afford them. Talk about cruel irony. Someone said, it's like living next to Disneyland and not being allowed inside. And Lake Erie's smell, pretty sure it counts as a pre-existing condition. Appalachia, Kentucky. Coal towns, winding roads, and healthcare that's practically folklore. In some Appalachian counties, there's literally one doctor for thousands. Hope you're not in a hurry. Rural Kentucky hollers, poverty, opioid crisis, and breathtaking mountains. Beautiful, but brutal. Data block, median home price, $90,000. Rent, $600. Poverty rate up to 40% in counties. Life expectancy, among lowest in U.S. Nearest major hospital, often 1 to 2 hours away. Rural hospitals keep shutting down, leaving residents stranded. Many rely on charity clinics or drive long distances. A local joked, we don't go to doctors. We go to funerals, dark humor, but real. And roads? Imagine ambulances climbing winding mountain passes while goats block the way. Hope you're patient. If you think Rome is frozen, wait until you see the Louisiana bayou town where $2,700 houses sink with the tide. Las Vegas, Nevada, neon lights, 24-hour casinos, and healthcare that's more gamble than guarantee. In Vegas, you're better off rolling dice than rolling into the ER. Odds are kinder at the tables. Population 650,000, tourism capital, scorching desert, and hospitals stretched thin by transient populations. Data block median home price, $430,000. Rent, $1,400. Tourism, 40 million visitors a year. Doctor-to-patient ratio, among worst in Nevada. ER, wait times, notoriously long. Vegas hospitals juggle tourists, locals, and everything in between. Doctors burn out faster than neon bulbs. One Vegas resident said, "Our hospitals aren't 24/7 like the casinos, more like 4/7." And summer heat? Ambulances basically double as mobile saunas. If you think Vegas is risky, wait until you hit the city where ERS shut down mid-crisis. New Orleans, Louisiana, jazz, Mardi Gras, gumbo, and hospitals that feel like they're drowning too. In NOLA, you can get beads faster than a doctor. Population 370,000. Culture rich, storm battered, and healthcare limping since Katrina. Data block median home price $250,000. Rent $1,200. Poverty rate 24%. Life expectancy 7 years below US average. Hospitals underfunded, many never fully recovered. Hurricane damage gutted hospitals and many never bounced back. Staffing shortages and overwhelmed ERS remain. A resident said, "Doctors leave faster than tourists after Mardi Gras." And the humidity, like living in someone else's mouth. Perfect setting for an asthma attack. The Bronx, New York, Yankee Stadium, hip-hop roots, and hospitals that make you question reality. In the Bronx, ER lines move slower than the 4 train at rush hour. Population 1.4 million. Bursting with culture, but plagued by poverty and overwhelmed healthcare. Data block median home price $450,000. Rent $1,600. Poverty rate 27%. Uninsured rate high compared to New York City average. Hospitals under constant strain. Bronx hospitals see endless patients, but resources can't keep up. Add in staff burnout and you've got chaos. A resident quipped, "Our ER is like Times Square, packed, noisy, and you leave broke." And the subway delays? Might as well wheel your gurney onto the train, it's faster. Imagine suburban streets with boarded windows, lawns wild, and your $2,000 house sighing like it wants mercy. If you think Ferguson is bad, wait until you see number 1, where houses sell for $1 and still feel overpriced. Rural Alabama, Black Belt region. Fertile soil, rich history, and healthcare so barren it might as well be another planet. In some counties, there isn't a single hospital left. 0. Hope you're good at DIY. Scattered rural towns, poverty-stricken, predominantly African-American communities, rich culture but abandoned infrastructure. Data block of median home price, $85,000. Poverty rate up to 35%. Hospital closures, dozens in the past 2 decades. Maternal mortality, among worst in the US. Nearest care, often 1 to 2 hours away. Many counties here have no hospitals, no OBGYNs, and barely any ambulances. Residents literally die waiting. A resident said, "Here, you don't call 911, you call your neighbor." And the roads, so bumpy you'll deliver your baby in the car before reaching a hospital. So there you have it. From border towns to forgotten mountains, glittering cities to empty plains. 30 US places where healthcare is less of a service and more of a survival test. Some bills higher than houses, some hospitals miles away, some ERS slower than dial-up internet. Every place different, but one thing's the same. Getting sick here is a nightmare. So which one's calling your name? Or more like, warning you away? Drop it in the comments. Like this video so the algorithm thinks I'm important. Subscribe. This channel is your break glass in case of boring life kit.